everyone. Welcome to today's podcast. As moms, we often put ourselves last or feel that we just don't have time to exercise, and going to the gym is way, way, way out of our comfort zones. Today, we're going to learn some easy exercise tips, you know, really how eating does impact us. And, filling our cups, we're going to learn is way, way far from what we were told and shot that it's selfish. Today, joining me is Andrea Davidson. Her passion is helping hardworking women find their lives again after months or even sometimes years of putting everyone first. So welcome, honey. I'm so happy that you're here with us today.
Thank you so much. I've been a big fan for a long time, following you. So this is a super honor to be part of your podcast. Thank you so much for inviting me.
You're welcome. So tell us a little bit about yourself. I did in the intro that you help women find their lives again, and this is kind of what we're going to be talking about, how we end up putting everyone first.
Absolutely. So the reason I started following you as well is that, you reach out to moms and try to calm their chaos. I had years of chaos, getting told you can't have a career and raise kids at the same time and all that other stuff, the guilt and whatever. I had a career. I didn't have a choice anyway. Single mom, had to work in corporate, and, ambition is just innate in my blood. So working hard, but still trying to be there for my kids and raise them. And hopefully in doing so was setting an example of, this is what hard work can help achieve while still balancing to be there for them. So after years of coaching people on their careers and, in their personal lives, when they're part of your work family, when you spend a lot of time there, I was totally burnt out. Had to take 6 weeks off and just regroup, and I was a soccer coach for my daughter's rep team. I was working in Toronto, commuting, 3 hours a day. My son had his activities, and he's got some special needs as well. So just done, couldn't do it, exhausted. And started to I took 6 weeks and took a stress leave by my doctor, and just said, what has to change in order to, I get, like you said, fill my own cup up. I couldn't give anymore to work, to kids, to my friends or family, because I was depleted. So luckily, I found this amazing program that led me into health and wellness and mindfulness, and really taught me to that you have to fill your own cup. You can't, give out to others if you're in. And that self-care is not selfish. All kinds of fun stuff like that. So I am so passionate about helping women to find that spark again and find themselves again after years of putting work and kids and husband and, whatever first. And just to transform their spark and re-energize their life. So that's what I do.
Awesome. And I love that we spoke a little bit earlier of the movement now, that I think it came from our parents' generation, or that generation, that looking after yourself is selfish. And I love that now we're embracing that it's not. It is not. That we need it.
It's essential. No, absolutely. Yeah, of course we do. And there's so many different ways that I think if you're just running all the time, which is, I think, certainly what I was doing, if you're running to soccer and running to work and you're running, you don't even realize what's taking your energy away. You think, I don't have energy for exercise, for example. And we talked about that a little bit. Well, exercise doesn't have to take your energy. There's ones that you have to find for you, movement and things that actually give you energy. Right.
Yes.
So
and it used to be perceived as, I'm a super mom, I can do all this stuff, and motherhood was all about sacrifice. The more we sacrifice, the better mom that we are, which
absolutely,
as you learned, you get burnt out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I heard this amazing analogy just in this book I'm reading, is by Amber Ray. Choose worry over wonder over worry, if I can get it right. And she said, if you're about to go on a trip and you can only take a carry-on, it's a trip of your life. This really is your life, is the analogy, right? You can only take a carry-on. All of us are going to try and pack as much stuff and we need all these things until you really can't. So you have to start taking them out and saying, does this bring me joy? Does this give me energy? Does this help myself or my family? And then in your day, you start only packing the things that do that, the important things. Like, does this make me feel good? Does this make me look good? And, does this give me energy, which is always my thing too. And if it doesn't, then leave it behind. It's not important. I always think of when I was thinking about you, someone told me, I was in this workshop one time about briefcase moms, and it was, how to balance and all that stuff. And they said the first thing is you need to outsource the baking, let go of the guilt of outsourcing,
Yes.
for the bake sales and all of that stuff. Like it doesn't prove that you're super mom or that you're keeping up with Mary and Sue Jones, because you're doing your own baking. But what's important is go buy a fruit tray and go play with your kids and be there and be in the moment, and you'll get more energy out of that than baking the cookies for the bake sale.
Yes. Yeah. Because often we get embraced with that. We can't let anybody down, and what's going to happen if our child goes to school and they're the one without the cupcakes or whatever it is. So we're exhausted. We're up till 2-3 in the morning baking for the bake sale, and
done it. I've done it.
Yeah.
And it's really about the story we're telling ourselves. Like, we're not a good enough parent or mom if we don't stay up all night and bake for the bake sale tomorrow. And that's the story. That's not what anyone else is saying. That's the story that we tell ourselves, and we need to start asking, is that really true? I mean, is it really true? Like, just do a check for yourself.
Yeah.
If who's going to know, and whatever they think about that is none of my business anyway.
Yes. Yeah. I love that quote. And it's so true. And, just to take that a step further is, what message are we giving our kids?
Yeah.
Right? If they see mom doing all this kind of stuff, but they want us to do something with us, and we're so exhausted.
For sure.
They're going to realize after time that our priority to our kids, outside we're baking cookies, we're doing the PTA, we're taking them here, we're taking there. So on the outside, we're looking like super moms, but their actual time spent is way, way down on the totem pole.
100%. And so if you go back or think back to your memories with your parents, or you ask your kids about that, they're going to talk about the time you spent with them, where you were present. Always did home baking for the bake sale. They don't remember that. They don't even know. So it's back to that carry on. What's important really, and being able to take a pause and say that. So about that.
I love that analogy. That's really good, and a really good way to look at things. Yeah. And I talked to someone with the podcast, and they said, even embracing no is a complete sentence. Yeah. No, I don't want to do this, or no, that's my answer, and that's okay.
It is. Give yourself permission. No one else is going to. So give yourself permission to say no. No, I'm not going to take on the bake sale this time. I'm not going to be the soccer coach again for the 6th year when I'm when I'm depleted. I need to say no, to say yes to me, and it is perfectly okay. It's a great example for your kids.
Exactly. Yeah. And they can, like you said, what they think of me is none of my business. They can guilt you. They can try to, who's going to do the soccer and do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Not me is your
Not me. That's all we have to worry about. Not me.
That's right. I'm not this year. I did my turn. I enjoyed it. I'm not doing it anymore. Thanks. Thanks for the memories. I would say, and so it's hard to say that one about that. I did enjoy the time because I was on the bench. So it's different. I wasn't at every practice. Actually, I rarely went to practice anymore. But I was on the bench for the games, and she remembers that. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
So I was okay with that. And she'll never say, "Oh, you never went to soccer practice." So, it's what matters is what's meaningful for you. Now, as she's older, she still plays soccer. I don't always go. I don't have to go anymore, so it's different. But
Yeah.
I'm allowed to say no and say
Agreed.
yes to me. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm not going. I'm going to the gym.
Yeah.
The gym's a bad example, but you know what I mean.
Yes. And we talked a little bit, if we want to, to fill our cup, we also need to eat, and how what we eat affects our energy and affects all of us. Because again, I know from my own experience, that's something that the end of the totem pole. Well, my kids were fed, my kids ate well, my kids did all that kind of stuff, but I was so down at the bottom.
I love that, and I've seen this so many times with my friends who have younger kids. It's like, I don't need to put a plate for myself because they won't finish, and I'll just sort of eat off their plates or like eat their leftovers. And
yeah,
right?
Yes.
How are you nourishing yourself and your brain?
Yeah.
Because you need to do that. I'm not saying never eat takeout, or I'm the opposite of that. It's finding, we talked earlier, we hate it's restrictive. You can never have this types of mindset. It's just going to make you want to crave things even more. It's if we think about it as nourishment, it's a whole different ballgame, right?
Yeah.
Trying to balance it. I love when someone said this to me once was, so would it be okay if your kids ate that way? So would it be okay that you have a plate and you just only fed your child the leftovers you didn't eat? Well, no, of course not. Oh, I would never. Then you deserve that too, right?
Yes.
You are as worthy to give nourishment and time, and you deserve that the fresh vegetables and all of that kind of stuff. And I know you've probably talked with others before about meal prepping is key. That isn't. I don't mean every night you need to prepare snacks. Planning it out. It's trying to cook up a bunch of things ahead of time and save yourself some time so that you can have healthy meals and you're not running for pizza or whatever at the last minute. So
yeah, and I love even sitting down. I caught myself a few times. I have two girls when they were littler. That time, I used that time when they were eating to do other things. Okay, right. I know they're going to be eating. I've got 15, 20 minutes. I can do this, this, and this. And then after a while, it was like, wait a minute.
I didn't eat.
Yeah.
And it takes your brain 20 minutes to get the message from your stomach that you're full. So if you're scarfing it down, you don't know you're full. You could be overeating. You could be, I'll do it later. Your body and your brain, they need to talk to each other, but they need time for those synapses to make the messages clear. So who you are when you're eating is just as important. That they talk about sleep, taking time and powering down and all that jazz. You need that for food too. So it's one of my rules has always been there's absolutely no electronics at the dinner table. And every other meal you can eat standing up at the counter or wherever you're going to be, but dinner is us at the table, no electronics, or at least 20 minutes. And it's a how was your day kind of a time. And again, it's the shoulds. I should go do laundry, like you were saying. I should go clean up. Well, you know what? What's important in that suitcase? You should sit down for that 20 minutes because you deserve to take a break and breathe and eat and enjoy that time with your kids because that's what they'll remember.
Agreed. And when we talk about giving ourselves permission for the no, giving ourselves permission for dirty dishes, dirty laundry, because when we at this time in moms, we know it's never going to go away. We're always going to have that kind of stuff.
Yeah, letting go of that perfection, that letting go of my house isn't clean and the laundry's not done. That's okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it really is. It'll get done. Do your kids have something to wear and some food? You're good.
Yeah. And I remember even going to friends' houses, and some of your friends, people that are listening might be that like this. You go to your friends, oh, my house is a mess, and you look around and going, what are you talking about? Like, I wish my house.
Yeah. I wish my house was as messy as yours right now, or as clean as your mess.
Yeah.
No,
yes.
Absolutely.
So we get this in our our head that, we can't have dirty dishes, we can't have dirty laundry, when no matter whatever age your kids are, we know at this point there's always going to be dishes, always going to be laundry. But we're not always going to have that time around the dinner table.
That's right. And I always try to look at that one. And this is a newer thing in the last couple of years to change it to a message in my own mind about gratitude is I get to spend 20 minutes with them today. You're not going to say I get to do the dishes so much, but at least you do though, right? I'm lucky because I have this great house and I have dishes and I have a roof over my head and I get to, and I do that a lot about getting movement and exercise in as well. Mm-hmm. It makes it a whole different ballgame. Instead of saying I should get some exercise, it's like I get to, and I feel that for you. I know you have you've had some issues with back and neck sometimes and things. I don't want to bring that in if that's gonna mess up your podcast, but everyone has. But I get to go for a walk. I get to take my dogs for a walk. I get to dance in my kitchen. I'm not working 3 jobs to make ends meet, so blessings to those who are, but it changes things big time that I get to
Agreed.
attitude.
Yeah. Agreed. And that mindset changed me a while ago with paying bills.
Yeah.
Like, I know before it was like, oh my gosh, you get blah, blah, blah in, blah, blah, blah goes out, and you're like, oh my gosh. Ugh. But now it's like, oh, yay, I got money. I can pay my cable. Yay, I'm paying my insurance. Like, and it's just a switch, a mindset of, I am so grateful I actually can pay my bills, that we have lights.
That's right. I get to, was a big life changer for me too around my day job. So I still have a day job. But it allows me to have this coaching where I can transform women's sparkle in their lives. And I get to talk to people like you. So I get to go to work and pay my bills. It's such a difference in your life instead of I have to or I should. Yes. So just taking a pause and trying to change that mindset makes all the difference.
Because then I remember those times when I did that switch and I stopped the dishes and all that. Because now my daughter's 15 and time is kind of, I don't get to all the time.
Dwindles. That's right. Yeah.
Have those meals. So I have learned to appreciate that part.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's good. Now you mentioned a little bit about exercise and you get to exercise and all that. As a mom, and I mentioned in our intro, like going to the gym is intimidating as all heck.
Of course. And time.
And time. So how can we kind of do that and fill our cups up as far as energy goes? We know eating well gives us energy, exercise, right. But how the heck do we do that with kids?
Yeah, so it's another mind shift. You need to think about exercise or movement, what I like to call it that, because you're not necessarily pumping iron, or running a marathon. But if you think about it as movement and things that you get to do around that, you can incorporate things with your kids. So if it is a gym, then that's what works for you. There are lots of gyms that have daycare for less than $2 for an hour. So there's just sort of exploring your options, and they're in a little mini daycare, and you've re-energized yourself for the day and you got that in. And if that's not an option, it's perfectly okay, because movement, your body is meant to move. It's not meant to be sitting static. And certainly if you have children, you're probably not, but meaningfully, go to the park. If the weather's great, and we'll talk about outside. If the weather's great, million things to do, right? Throw the kids in the stroller, make it a race. Or I think you and I talked before, we said, play a game of tag. Like, how fun is that? And just be a kid yourself a little bit. And think about that, I get to do this with my children right now, instead of, I should be doing laundry or dishes or, the million things of lists. Like, let that go and just enjoy it. And there's yoga that there's YouTube, there's all kinds of stuff that can incorporate mom and kids exercising, and they love it. If you've ever watched a YouTube video of kids doing yoga, it's amazing.
Yes.
So awesome. I love it. Yeah. So think of it as more as movement. How can I move my body today? How can I, even if you get 250 steps an hour, you're moving your circulation, you're getting blood pumping through your heart and your brain and your toes and everywhere that needs it. And you can get your kids setting an amazing example for them too, especially this day and age when they want an iPad or a TV or a phone or something like that. So
yeah, I love that. Think just again, mindset, changing it, diet to eating and exercise to movement, and
yeah,
how that can change the way we look at it.
100%.
Yes.
Our mind can play lots of tricks on us and tell us, the stories that we've been telling ourselves, like I'm not good at math or I'm not a runner. But really, I mean, you can change that. You can.
Yeah.
You can be absolutely anything, and kids believe that, and you should too. So that includes, exercising. So if it's intimidating to go to the gym, just go for a walk. It doesn't have to be overwhelming or a big deal. If you live in a place where you don't have great weather, throw some music on and dance in your kitchen. It doesn't get better than that, right?
Agreed. Yes. Yeah.
That's the best.
Yeah. Because kids are all about dancing and moving, and have a dance party.
Have a dance party. It's so fun. Like, forget the dishes. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about the laundry. Just take some time and you will feel energized enough to do some of those things afterwards as well.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully you get your kids some energy out and they can be, settled for a little bit and let you do that as well. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and as we're talking, my mind's going back, even those lovely games that we played as kids, we mentioned tag, hide and go seek.
Yeah.
It's huge.
So fun. Yeah, in your own house if you want, if you can't get to a park or if the weather's not doing that. It's just have some fun and moving around, and it's
hopscotch.
Oh yeah, for sure. Skipping, why not?
Yeah.
Just kick a ball around the field. It doesn't have to be rocket science or a big overcomplicated overwhelming thing. It's just moving. And you'll feel so much better and so much more energy for it. Sorry.
Yeah, and I think that's too, because we're bombarded every day with all these advertisements, and like you said, we have to be runners, we have to do this, and we're bombarded. But if we just switch it to movement, exercise, get rid of that, and movement, playing a game of tag, going for a walk, our body is fluid, it's movement, and that is making our bodies engaged. And for our kids, it's huge.
Yeah, it sets a great example, doesn't it?
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, if we tell our kids, hey, you want to play a game of tag, I don't think many of them are going to say, no, we're good, right?
No, and whoever said, I wish I hadn't done a bit of yoga or gone for a walk, like no one says that. It's because it feels great, right? And just, again, like I said, it doesn't have to be super complicated or take 2 hours at a gym. Take half an hour and go for a walk or play a game, hopscotch, skipping, anything fun. Mm-hmm. And we'll remember that stuff too, which is amazing. You're building memories.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it doesn't have to be what the ads are portraying. We don't have to go for a run. We don't have to lift weights to be healthy. It can be, like you said, movement. Dance parties.
Dance parties. It's my favorite.
I love that. Yeah, because you see kids, often, we see them as little. They, still in diapers. They've got that little grab. I know it's an audio. We're dancing here on our podcast, but their bodies automatically start moving.
Yeah. So will yours. I watched a podcast earlier today, and one of my favorite influencers was on that with her little girl, and they were listening to that shark song. I'm not even sure what it is. It got stuck in my head.
Baby
and
shark.
Here I am. Yeah. The mama shark and grandma shark and whatever. It was in my head. I was dancing around myself. So it doesn't take much. And that's why I meant, your body's meant for moving and fun. And that's what gives you energy too.
Yeah. And somehow along the lines, we've let it become complicated, and just going back to think of what all those things we liked as a kid.
Yeah. Yeah. And don't overthink it, right? Don't.
Agreed. Yes.
I don't have time. Sure you do. I'm not saying get up at 5:30 before your kids and go work out.
Yeah.
You can fit 30 minutes in there. And, if you feel like, there was one lady I worked with who was a former client of mine, and she used to sit down, oh, I'm just too tired. And so, well, what do you do in the evenings? Well, I sit down with my daughter and we watch TV. Oh, well, what if you went for a walk with your dogs for 30 minutes instead of TV? Even, not saying don't watch TV, but maybe delay it by half an hour. Go for a walk. And she said, I can't believe how different, because we weren't talking before. Now we're, my 13-year-old daughter and I were talking all day, and about mine and about the dogs. And, when we're sitting there watching TV, we weren't. So it made a big difference for her in her relationship as well as for her own energy. And that expanded to her. She did join a gym and would go for 30 minutes every night. Her daughter came with her. And
Nice. Yeah.
right. And it just trickles from there. Her relationship with her husband was getting better because she was happier and had more energy and they could talk. And anyway, it's sad.
Yeah. And I think maybe it was Rachel Hollis, somebody that was talking about, we use that as a reason, an excuse. I don't have time. And she was speaking, I'm pretty sure it was her, and she called out everybody. She started her talk with, how many of you can tell me who won Bachelorette? How many of you can tell me who the winner of Survivor was? And all these hands went up, and then she goes, okay. And then, she went into her talk and she said, how many of you guys don't feel you have time? And she did it in such a brilliant way. It's like, I'm not purposely pointing fingers at you, but the same people that could tell me who won Bachelorette are the same people that are saying,
I don't have time.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just what we give our time to.
That's right. And for working folks, I've said, just walk around your office floor, go for a walk at lunch, or even on a break to get yourself moving. And I bet you'll feel better, which turns into, it really does, because it's addicting, right? So then it turns into going for a 40-minute walk on your lunch, and that the last 20 is for eating and getting your nourishment and things like that. But then you're not feeling that 2:30 slump where you need the coffee and, the pick me up for sugar and all that kind of stuff, because you're finding different ways to give yourself energy. So.
Yeah. And then just really giving ourselves that permission to go and do that. Like you said, the walk with the kids is huge.
It's huge.
Even, make it a treasure hunt. Okay. Depending on whatever season and what it is, let's go look for whatever, we're in Canada, so 5 maple leaves, right? Yeah. Or whatever. And just make it a fun thing. And the kids are going to come out and, we're all running around looking for these things.
Yep. That's right. I love those hunts that they used to do. And even now, if you have a little bit older kids, like if your daughter's 15, it's, you've got 30 minutes and you have to take a picture of a blue car and the number 6, and, when they run and they come back, and you can make it, be creative back to when you used to make up games when you were a kid, or get them to. I bet you they'll come up with some amazing stuff. Take turns making up ideas.
Yeah.
So don't think about it as exercise in the gym. I love that. That's how you started it, and it's exactly about it as you need to move your body and how much energy you'll feel. I find journaling helps with that too. Like if you can have a journal that not everyone has time. I'm talking 3 minutes in the morning, 3 minutes at night, that you can just log, this is what I did and this is how I felt. So I had a good lunch. I felt great. I had takeout for lunch. I was grabbing coffee by 3 p.m, because if you're not mindful that that's what you're doing, you're just mindlessly grabbing for caffeine or sugar or whatever. Another good thing that one of my mentors has said is to go back to, if you're having a rough day or you're depleted of energy, think about the last time you had a lot of energy and what you were doing. See what's different. And if you have a 3 minutes at night to journal on that, then you can flip back. I was feeling really great last week. Oh, you know what? I went for a walk every day at lunch. And now I didn't this week because I'm too busy. So now I'm doing air quotes and we're on audio, but you get it. But we're, go back to, you're able to go back and see what what you were doing that worked well for you.
Huge.
That's huge.
Yeah, and I've talked a few times, I'm big on journals and just big on ending your day like that and starting your day. It's I forget the actual quote, but I would say safe to say about 85% of people, when they wake up, before their feet even hit the ground, they're already, oh my God, I got to go to work. Oh my God, I'm not gonna, they set up this scarcity. I don't know how I'm gonna get through this day. We don't have, and all these things are running through their head about why this day already sucks, and they haven't even put out their feet on the floor.
Yes.
So if we do that, like you said, 3 things before bed, 3 things when we get up in the morning about what we're grateful for, changes everything.
It does. It sets your day off amazingly different. I do it every day. I was given a gift of I think it's a 3-minute journal is what it's called, actually. And you write 3 things that you're grateful for in the morning, and then you take 5 minutes and you write about your day in the evening, and what you're grateful for that happened. And even the rough stuff, like you can learn a lot from, I had a bad day because of this, that, and the other thing. Sometimes that means that you're growing and changing too. Or instead of saying I had a bad day and it sucked, maybe I had a rough day. What did I learn from that? What can I do differently next time, kind of thing. So
yeah, and not beating ourselves up about it. Oh, forget my life, or whatever those sayings we get into. My life sucks, blah 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 blah. But okay, this happened. What can I learn from it?
Yeah, I like the curiosity and courage. Those are the two that I think about. Why did I have a rough day? And that goes back to I didn't go for a walk and I didn't eat enough or well or whatever. And the courage is I'm going to start over and do it better tomorrow. And what did I learn from it? Because sometimes you just want to put the bad day to bed, and why not get curious about so that you can make changes, make it different.
Agreed. And I love that you can look back, like you said, and okay, this day was really good. What was the difference in that day? What was the difference that we kind of took from that, which is huge.
Yeah. I find that too. If I would call it slack, it isn't slack, but if I don't do my journaling in the morning, I can tell immediately by the end of the week that I didn't set my day. It's just different. Yeah. For sure. Again, depending on the age of your kids, it's a great thing for them to do. Why not write 3 things they're grateful for in the morning, in the evening, and do it together? Yeah. When you're putting them to bed after they have a story, okay, name 3 things you're grateful for. You don't have to make it a big time-wasting, time-taking thing.
No. And that's what we used to do around the table when we name something that went well today. Name something that didn't. Okay. And again, what could we have done different? And sometimes it's just a bad day. Like,
sure,
this has happened. Okay. Doesn't mean it's going to change us from here. Like you said, let's put it to rest, and tomorrow's a whole new day.
New fresh day. Yeah, that's exactly it. The one thing, I think around putting it to rest is not stuffing it down, like not saying,
agreed. Yeah.
Right. I had a bad day. Oh, well, tell me about that. What could be different, or, how'd that go? And you get people to talk about it yourself, or, your child or whoever. And if you don't have it to talk to, then a journal is a perfect place. But it's just being curious about why you got angry or had a bad day or something like that. Because I found, at least in my life, it turned into emotional eating, if not, oh, I'm happy and positive all the time. But really, there's some underlying stuff that's going on that I'm going to stuff back with that cupcake or, 10 chocolates from Halloween or something like that. So it's important to just be curious about it. Why did I get angry? Okay, maybe it was this, and get it out. And then, like you said, lay it to rest, start fresh tomorrow, and off you go. And then you're not stuffing it down. It's important to address it, deal with it.
Agreed. Yeah, so it doesn't fester and come up, just like we can look back and say, okay, why did we have a good day? But if we have that and it festers and we don't deal with it, 2-3 weeks later, somebody says something, we just explode, blow up, and it's like, okay, why did I just do that?
Right. Yeah, because I didn't deal with it. So 100%. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's
So
just
good.
it. Compassion for yourself, I guess, is the third C, right? Curious
Yes.
and courageous, but be compassionate. If you're compassionate with your friends, then you deserve that same compassion to yourself. And
Yes.
yeah, I love that. There was another quote that was said, if this body wasn't mine, would I hate it? I know we're getting into a different sort of realm of thing, or
Yeah.
would,
Yeah.
even in the how much you deserve in a break for having your dinner or time to exercise or self-care, does your best friend deserve that? Then, absolutely you should too. You deserve that
Yeah.
same compassion.
Agreed. Yeah. We let our friends do that, right? Even how we talk
Yeah,
about ourselves, when we talk to our friends or our kids that way.
that's right. I
So
think
good.
it was someone said, would 6-year-old Andrea, would you say that to her? And I was like, oh, mind blown, mic
Yes.
drop. No, of course I wouldn't say that.
So if when the moms are listening, they're saying, "Oh my gosh, this is such good stuff." What is, taking it baby steps? So we know, we need to start change. What is something that they can start implementing right away?
So I would say great gratitude,
Mm-hmm.
flipping around your shoulds to I get to. It's a big thing
Yes.
for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Mind changing, thinking about exercise as movement and not, oh my gosh, I need to go to the gym, and not making it into this big overwhelming thing. So some small steps, and taking a walk at lunch, playing with your kids, playing hopscotch or tag or hide and go seek or something fun like that, and just
Yeah.
have a dance party in your kitchen. Um, and having compassion for yourself, that you don't need to be perfect. Nobody is. No one's judging you, but even if they are, it's none of your business. It's one of my
Love that.
favorite things.
Yeah.
That's right. And you can't help everyone in your family if you have an empty cup. So fill yourself
Mm.
up first, and it's like put your oxygen on first. That's the rule. So
Yes. Yeah. And
yeah.
I was just reading that someone that said that there's a reason why they ask you to put your oxygen mask on yourself
Yeah. And you
first.
deserve that as much as 6-year-old you or your own children or anyone else. So,
Yeah.
have some compassion for yourself, but yeah, make sure the eating well does not mean never have a treat, but you deserve to have a full nourishing meal 3 times at least a day.
Yeah.
And, if that's what you're giving your kids, that's what you deserve as well. And so take your time
Agreed.
for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, how can people? I'll do have in the write-up about the links, but people that are listening in their car, we don't want them to look at the links. How
No.
can they find you, honey?
So the easiest way is probably my website, which has Instagram and Facebook connected as well. And I'm
Okay.
the TorontoSuccessCoach.com.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you
Yeah.
so much, honey. Some really good nuggets. And, you know, the bottom line, it's okay, self-care. It's not selfish. And if one thing you guys get for that, I'd love that message to go out there, is it's not selfish. And the more we can do to let that go and know that it's about filling our cup, that we can't pour from an empty cup, and just really change that belief that it's selfish.
Love
So,
it.
yes, so thank you so much, honey.
Thank
And
you. This has been great. So
this has
fun.
been awesome. And guys, yeah, look into Andrea. Go on her TorontoSuccessCoach.com. Find her on Instagram, follow her. And thank you so much for listening to us today.